Have you ever wondered why some people seem to achieve everything effortlessly while others struggle to get ahead? Or why some of us find success while others remain stuck no matter how hard we try? In this audiobook summary of What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter, you'll discover the hidden power of self-talk and how it can transform your life. By the end of this summary, you'll have actionable techniques to reprogram your mind, unlock your potential, and finally achieve the success you've been dreaming of. So stay with me till the end, because what you're about to learn could change everything. In What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, Shad Helmstetter explores a powerful truth. Our success or failure in life isn't dictated by luck, chance, or outside forces. It's shaped by the way we talk to ourselves every day. Many people think that life's outcomes are beyond their control, but this book shows that by changing our internal dialogue, we can take charge of our destiny. From childhood, our minds are programmed by the words we hear from others, parents, teachers, friends, and society. Some of this programming is positive, but much of it is negative, and it affects our thoughts, actions, and ultimately, our success. The good news is that this programming can be changed. Through self-talk, you can erase old, limiting beliefs and replace them with new, empowering ones. In this summary, you'll learn how self-talk works, the different levels of self-talk, and practical techniques to reprogram your mind for success. You'll also discover how to break free from the myth of external motivation and become your own source of inspiration. Let's dive in and learn how to transform your self-talk and your life. Looking for a better way. Everyone wants their life to be the best it can be. We all long for a happy personal life and a successful professional career. Everyone seeks contentment in their life, but do we always get what we truly want? Some people seem lucky, having everything they desire, but many others aren't as fortunate, and they struggle to achieve what they wish for. In this chapter, the author tries to uncover what stands between us and our success. According to the author, we can become the masters of our lives through self-management. As a child, Shad Helmstetter dreamt of touching the stars. He would lie down on the cold, damp grass at night, gazing up at the sky, captivated by the sparkling stars above. He often wondered if he could reach out and touch them. His mind was filled with wild, imaginative thoughts, and he believed that anything was possible. But as he grew older, the realities of life replaced his childhood imagination. He realized that touching the stars was just a dream. And dreams, he was taught, don't come true. His family had ingrained in him the idea that it was better to face the realities of life than to chase after impossible fantasies. Shad pursued law and began learning practical matters. Yet, deep inside, he felt a void, as if something was missing from his life. He often reflected on what was lacking, trying to understand what he truly needed. Then, one day, he decided to look up at the stars again. This became a turning point in his life. He began to wonder why his childhood dreams had never come true, what had stopped him from reaching for the stars. Shad realized there had to be answers to these questions, and he was determined to find them. That moment marked the beginning of a new journey for Shad. He set out to find the answers to his burning questions. He first delved into the study of human behavior, followed by motivational marketing. When subjects like mathematics, religion, business, and psychology failed to provide the answers he sought, he turned to the inner workings of the human brain to find the solutions. The answers. Shad found many of his answers in self-help books and ideas. But with so many self-help books and strategies available, Why do people still struggle to achieve their goals? Does that mean these books are useless? Absolutely not. The books are valuable, and the ideas within them really work. The problem lies in understanding the human brain. The human brain is just as powerful as a personal computer, and it functions based on the instructions it receives. If you give your brain the right instructions, it will work in the right direction. But if you feed it wrong instructions, it will go off track. It all depends on how you handle this mental computer. Negative programming can damage the way your brain functions. You either program your brain negatively yourself, or your environment influences it. As children, we often hear the word no. People constantly say, "You can't do this," or "You're not allowed to go there," or "You shouldn't do that." You'll hear similar things in almost every household, where parents or elders repeatedly stop their children from doing something. Even in the most positive families, the word no is probably used around 148,000 times. During your childhood, you were likely told countless times, "You can't do this," "You won't achieve that," "This is not within your ability," and so on. Simply put, in life, the word no is used far more frequently than yes. This is what we call negative programming. Whether we realize it or not, we receive this negative programming from our parents, siblings, teachers, neighbors, and other influential people around us. It affects about 77% of our brain's programming, resulting in negative thinking. Over time, this negative thinking begins to work against us and steers our brain in the wrong direction. When you hear the same thing repeatedly, you start to believe it's true. Eventually, this negative thinking becomes the reality of your life. We learn to believe. Now that we understand the harmful effects of negative programming on the brain, it's time to explore how we can change it. As we've discussed, it's possible to replace negative programming with new, positive programming. By doing this, we can become more productive, and even what once seemed impossible will start to feel achievable. In this chapter, the author shares 2 stories to explain how negative and positive programming work. When Shad was a child, he wanted to learn how to play a musical instrument. He had a strong desire to join his school's musical band. However, when he auditioned, he failed. The band director rejected him and even told him that he had no musical talent. Others echoed the same opinion. Hearing these negative comments repeatedly, Shad started to believe that he truly lacked musical talent. The negative programming had done its job. Yet, years later, Shad quietly learned how to play a musical instrument on his own. The band director's opinion was proven wrong. Now, let's look at the second story. 6-year-old Michael used to visit an elderly gentleman who lived in his neighborhood. One evening, just as Michael was about to go to bed, this gentleman came over to his house and said to his mother, "Your son is very creative, and he's going to accomplish great things when he grows up." Michael overheard this, and it left a lasting impression on him. From that moment on, he believed he was creative, and the old man's words came true. Today, Mike Vance is the dean of Walt Disney University. That elderly man's words created positive programming in Mike's brain, and he believed them to be true. The lesson we learn from these stories is that it's absolutely possible to change negative programming. By replacing it with positive programming, we can achieve the goals we set for our lives. The wall. Whether we realize it or not, we are always talking to ourselves. Our brain is a thinking machine that never stops. This internal dialogue is called self-talk. It can take many forms: thoughts, feelings, or even physical responses. Self-talk is often unconscious, so we may not even notice it. Every experience, emotion, or reaction gets stored in our subconscious mind. The brain connects old ideas with new thoughts. If you have stored negative ideas in your memory, more negative thoughts will follow. The subconscious mind cannot differentiate between good or bad. It accepts everything you give it. It stores everything like a mental computer. For example, Shad once went to a coffee shop in Las Vegas with a friend who happened to be a motivational speaker. They were discussing how negative programming affects people's brains and how negative self-talk creates problems in life. As they waited for their order, a waitress came to their table with plates of food. Suddenly, she lost her balance, spilling the hot food on their table. As she began cleaning up, the waitress muttered, "I'm so clumsy." This was a live example of negative self-talk right in front of Shad and his friend. The waitress likely had a habit of dropping things, and over time, she started believing she was clumsy. She had built a negative self-image. To further prove this point, let's consider another example. Imagine you've always believed that you can't remember people's names. One day, you attend a party and meet several new people. You want to remember their names, and you even tell yourself, from now on, I'll remember people's names. But despite your best efforts, you forget their names again. Why did this happen? It happened because you've ingrained the belief that you're bad at remembering names. You keep telling yourself that, and it becomes your reality. You've programmed your brain to forget names. If negative self-talk is leading your brain in the wrong direction, it's equally true that positive self-talk can guide it in the right direction. The self-management sequence. Success or failure isn't a matter of luck, though people often say they became successful because they were lucky. But that's not true. Success or failure doesn't depend on luck. It depends on you. If you know the path to success, you can certainly achieve it. If you don't, success will remain just a dream. The author outlines 5 steps that control either your success or failure. The first step is behavior, which refers to action. The right actions, taken in the right sequence, are crucial for success. The second is feeling. Our feelings affect our actions, and therefore they influence whether we succeed or fail. If you like something, you'll feel positive about it, and your chances of success will increase. The third step is attitude. How we feel about something is shaped by our attitude. A positive attitude can show you a ray of hope even in the most difficult circumstances. The fourth is belief. Our attitude is rooted in our beliefs, and belief is a powerful force. It has the potential to make things good or bad, depending on how we perceive them. Finally, the fifth step is programming, which plays a significant role in shaping our belief system. The way we program our minds determines how we view and believe in things. Programming creates beliefs. Beliefs form the right attitude. Attitude influences our feelings, and feelings dictate our behavior. This chain reaction, called the self-management sequence, either leads us toward success or failure, depending on how we're programmed. The author provides various examples in the book to explain how each step is vital. For instance, if a student lacks interest in studying, they'll skip classes and won't pay attention in lectures. Eventually, their grades will drop. As their grades continue to fall, they'll become even more disengaged from studying, and the problem will only get worse. In this way, a person's behavior and actions determine their success. Another example highlights how feelings affect success. Jane is terrified of flying. Although she's a well-balanced individual, the mere thought of airplanes makes her anxious. Whenever she needs to visit her family, she chooses to travel by car instead of flying, even though the car journey takes 2 or 3 days. The moment she steps inside a plane, she becomes extremely nervous and falls ill. which is why she avoids flying altogether. Next, let's see how beliefs impact success. Imagine you believe that you can never make friends or that people don't like you. If you hold on to this belief, you'll remain isolated because this belief will stop you from reaching out to others. You'll never feel comfortable around them. As a result, no matter how brilliant an idea you have, you'll be afraid to share it at school or work. And until you speak up, no one will know about your talent. Meanwhile, someone else's average idea might get approval, while your brilliant idea remains trapped in your mind. The 5 levels of self-talk. Self-talk helps us erase old negative programming and replace it with fresh, positive programming. We engage in self-talk every day, every minute, but it's always different. Here, the author introduces us to the 5 levels of self-talk. Some of these might be useful for you, while others may not. So it's up to you to decide which ones work best. These are the 5 levels of self-talk. The level of negative acceptance. This is the most common and most harmful level of self-talk. The level of recognition and need to change. This level seems positive, but it can also work against you. The level of decision to change. This works in your favor. Here, you begin to transform negative thoughts into positive ones. The level of the better you. This is the most crucial and effective level, as it inspires individuals to become their best selves. The level of universal affirmation. This level gives you a sense of being a part of the greater universe. To illustrate the importance of self-talk, the author gives the example of a smoker. Imagine you're a smoker, but you want to quit. Start by telling yourself that you don't smoke. Keep repeating it to yourself. First, say it to yourself, then tell others that you don't smoke. When you pull out a cigarette and bring it to your lips, remind yourself, I don't smoke. Say it out loud. Your friends or family might find it odd, but keep saying it. Eventually, your mind will start questioning, if you don't smoke, why is there a cigarette in your hand? Keep reminding yourself that you don't smoke, and eventually, your brain will reprogram itself. One day, you'll finally quit smoking. The motivation myth. Some motivations work, but about 95% of them don't. The problem with most motivational talks is that they aren't permanent. You may attend a motivational session, feel inspired, and think you're ready to conquer the world. But after a short while, your internal programming overpowers that motivation, and you fall back into your old habits. External motivation that comes from outside of you, doesn't last long. That's why you need a kind of motivation that stays with you. You must become your own motivator. Imagine you're playing softball for a local team, and a tournament is coming up. Your team has an expert coach who constantly inspires you. When you're feeling down or tired, they encourage you. This coach teaches you that even in defeat, you shouldn't feel discouraged because any loss can be turned into a win. For you, this coach is a great motivator, a best friend, and a strong supporter. Their motivation drives you to win the match, and the season ends on a high note. But what happens after that? The coach leaves because the season is over, and with them goes all the motivation. They were your source of external motivation, and now they're gone. So, what do you do now? You might wish for a coach who could always be by your side, constantly motivating you. Imagine if you could always have that kind of motivation where you didn't need anyone else to inspire you. Wouldn't that be amazing? Now, think about what would happen if you became your own motivator. You'd never need anyone else to push you. The motivation inside you would always inspire you to keep going. The new techniques. Self-talk techniques are simple and easy to use. Some take time, while others require almost no time at all. Here are the techniques. Silent self-talk. This is when you talk to yourself quietly in your mind. Self-speak. Speaking aloud and telling others about your thoughts. Self-conversation. Engaging in a conversation with yourself. Self-write. Writing down your self-talk. Tape talk. Recording your self-talk and listening to it. Shad was trying to lose some weight, and although he tried everything, exercise, dieting, and more, nothing seemed to work. Then he started using self-talk, and it worked for him. However, it took time, especially in the mornings, when finding time for self-talk was difficult. Wanting to try something simpler, Shad began recording his self-talk and listening to it. He recorded his self-talk onto index cards, focusing on eating habits, self-esteem, and physical fitness. Every morning while shaving, he listened to these tapes. He listened again while driving and just before going to bed. Within 10 weeks, Shad had lost 58 pounds. His doctor was astonished. Even the receptionist at the clinic asked Shad what his secret diet was. Shad was thrilled with his results, but his wife surprised him too. She had also lost 25 pounds. Later he found out that she had been listening to the self-talk tapes as well. Some of Shad's friends and clients asked him to record tapes for them too. Shad gladly helped them, and he was amazed to receive letters from people sharing their success stories after using his tapes. One woman wrote to Shad, saying that she wanted to save her marriage. She had attended one of Shad's self-talk seminars and later started listening to his self-talk tapes about family relationships. She listened to the tapes every day. Initially, her husband showed no interest in them, but after 2 weeks, he asked her to play the tapes again. She noticed that since they started listening, their arguments had decreased. Her husband's behavior had changed, and he began to share his problems with her. Soon, they were living like a normal, happy couple again. Conclusion. In this summary, you've learned that the brain is like a mental computer. It functions based on how it's programmed. Whether your brain works for or against you depends on the kind of programming it has received. Negative programming leads to negative outcomes, while positive programming brings positive effects. You also discovered that the programming of our brain begins in childhood. Everything our parents, teachers, and friends say to us or about us contributes to this programming, shaping how we think. This book taught you that you can change negative programming into positive programming with the help of self-talk. You've learned about the levels of self-talk and its new techniques. You've also explored motivation and learned that external motivation is temporary. That's why you shouldn't rely on others for motivation or inspiration. Instead, you need to depend on yourself. Now you know how to achieve your dreams and become successful. So, starting today, replace your negative programming with positive programming. Use the power of self-talk. Keep practicing self-talk until your skills improve, and you'll be on the fast track to success. Now that you've discovered how powerful self-talk can be, it's time to take action. Remember, your brain is your mental computer, and you have the ability to reprogram it for success. Start today by replacing your negative thoughts with positive self-talk, and keep practicing until it becomes second nature. The results will speak for themselves. If you found this summary insightful, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful book summaries that can transform your life. I upload regularly, so stay tuned for the next video where we'll explore more life-changing ideas. Until then, Keep feeding your mind with positivity, and remember, your thoughts shape your reality. Make them work for you.